Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name's Kat. I do makeup things, fitness things, just all kinds of stuff, challenges, whatever you want really, is what I do on here. And for today, I decided to do something a little bit different and fun. This is something that I've seen other people do on their channels. Safiya Nygaard has done like literally every type of mixing makeup on her channel. Like she's mixed all of her eyeshadows, lipsticks, foundations, everything, like, and then she's mixed things that aren't even makeup related. I think she mixed like waxy things to make a new candle and like all kinds of other, like she made a cake where she like literally took every single cake mix out there. So definitely go check out her channel if you want to see someone that really has just like gone the extra mile on mixing things. But this is just me having fun with what I have available for foundation. And so I'm going to be mixing all of my foundations together and then we're going to throw it on my face and see how it looks. And yeah, and then we'll just talk about what I think, if I have potentially created the best foundation for me, because there are definitely some foundations that we're going to be mixing in that are just not ones that I'm a fan of. But perhaps if we are mixing them with other foundations that I love, maybe we'll be able to find some common ground and this will just be the best thing ever. Without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and show you all of my foundations and then we'll get to tossing them in our bowl and start mixing. So to kick this thing off, I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys a real quick rundown of all of my foundations. Not a super huge collection, but certainly large enough. And then we have my handy dandy mixing bowl, along with my very high-tech mixing tool that is my fork. So there it all is. Super zoomed out. There you go. Alright, so in no particular order, I'm just going to start adding the foundation in. And so first one up is going to be from Stila. And this is their Lingerie Souffle, which really I'm not even sure we can consider this a foundation because it's weird. But this is the goop, the moussey goop. I'm just going to be using the back of the fork. So I think we'll just scrape off of this. I'm just gonna set that in there until I can actually mix it with stuff. Also, the only type of foundation that I'm not including in this is going to be stick foundation, because that would just be a bitch to try and mix. So we're just going to be sticking with all of the liquidy foundations. So up next we have Natasha Denona, the Foundation X Plus. It's a full coverage. I am going to shaky all of these up, give them a fair trial on here, and we're going to do... Oh, that just fired right out. Going to do about 3 pumps of each. Next up, I do have just a small little trial size, but I figured I'm not going to be stingy. So this is from Perlice. It's the Perfect Glow BB Cream. Give that a little shaky. Alright. Okay. Next up, from Urban Decay. This is their All-Nighter Waterproof Longwear Liquid Foundation. That gave a little bit more in each pump. Alright, I'm already gonna give this a little stir so you guys can see how it's coming along. Up next, from Benefit, we have their Hello Happy Flawless Brightening Foundation. It's a medium coverage. This is gonna be the one that just really fucks up the shade range because it is definitely darker than the majority of the other foundations that I have because it's my summer one. Okay, up next from Art Deco, it's their Perfect Tint Foundation, long-lasting, oil-free. Give it another shaky shake. It's gonna be a great arm workout for me today. Definitely 3 full pumps of that because not as much came out. And this guy will also help to offset the Benefit because this puppy is definitely a couple shades too light for me at this point, since I have in fact experienced some sun lately. Okay, up next another little trial size From Givenchy, this is their Matissime Velvet Hoop. I don't speak French. Velour de Teint Éclat Radiant Matte Foundation. I did my best. Squirty guy. Okay, that'll do it. Alright, up next is from Maybelline Fit Me, the Matte and Poreless Normal to Oily in the shade Classic Ivory. Alright, so give it a little shake. There we go. Alright. This is the NYX Total Control Drop Foundation, which makes sense because it's got a little dropper on there. So I'm gonna squeegee some up into the stopper. That'll do. This is a very runny one, by the way. The consistency is not at all like cream-like. It's very, very runny, just as a heads up. Also fairly certain I just mixed a dog hair into this, so that'll be fun to apply to my face. That definitely just changed the consistency of the bowl. Alright, up next is from Physicians Formula. This is their Nude Wear Touch of Glow Foundation in the shade Light Medium. It's got a cute little bow. Ooh, okay. Also definitely a little darker than what I expected. Next up, we have from Revlon. I've got a couple, and so I'm gonna try and see if I can just like... Okay, before we do the Revlon one, we're gonna do the other Maybelline ones that we're kind of somewhat at least keeping together in the same companies. So this is the Dream Radiant Liquid Hydrating Foundation. Has hyaluronic acid and collagen in it. Alright. Okay. A little thicker. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the Revlon, and so we've got two from Revlon. So first we have the Photo Ready Candid Glow, which is a Moisture Glow Anti-Pollution Foundation. Yeah, man. There we go. Okay, and then before we mix that in, we've got the other Revlon, which is the Colorstay Full Coverage Foundation in a matte medium beige. Alright, here we go. Should be enough. So far the shade actually appears to be very much the shade and the texture looks like it hasn't changed from the Stila when I first put that in, because this is all very similar to that. Okay, up next we have two different ones from L'Oreal, and so the first one is going to be the Infallible Foundation. It's got sunscreen in there. You can wear it up to 24 hours, they say. Alright, here we go. Also a little bit liquidy, but I do like the pump on there. It's kind of got like a groove you can put your finger in, so it's comfortable. And now for the second L'Oreal, we have the Infallible Pro Glow Octinoxate Sunscreen. Wow. Has a radiant finish to it. Okay. Looking beautiful. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Alright, up next, let's go ahead and do our two Fenties. So we have both the Fenty Pro Filter Hydrating Longwear Foundation and the Fenty Pro Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation. So let's go ahead and plop those guys in here. Alright, and the matte one. Alright. It is ever so slowly starting to get a little more liquidy. That souffle texture is starting to dissipate, which is nice. Yes, I am using fancy terms like dissipate, because this is science experiment. Up next, let's see here what we've got. We can do, from Shiseido, this is the Luminizing Fluid Foundation. Synchro Skin Glow. And definitely every single time that I read this as grow instead of glow, and so I always think that it's making me grow more skin. Fact of the day. Okay, we'll just do 2 pumps of that because that's fairly liquidy, so a lot comes out with 1 pump. And I found that that particular Shiseido foundation actually feels a lot more just like a tinted moisturizer. It doesn't have like a heavy feeling for foundation at all, and it gives my skin a very nice radiance to it, so that's definitely one of my favorites. And then along those lines, we also have from Laura Mercier, this is a tinted moisturizer, and it's oil-free. She does have two different ones. There's the oil-free one, and then there's just a regular tinted moisturizer. I prefer the oil-free one because my face supplies enough oil as it is. Alright, we're like, this is coming along. Look at this. And it's actually looking fairly close to what I would hope it would look like. Alright, up next is going to be from Anastasia Beverly Hills, the Luminous Foundation. Okay. Up next, from Beauty Blender, we have the Bounce Foundation, and it's a Liquid Whip Long Wear Foundation. And unlock it, it has a little lock on there, because it's fancy. And that particular foundation is not as liquidy, so when you use the pump and it comes out, it always reminds me of like little squiggle snakes on there, like, I don't know. Up next we have from Charlotte Tilbury, the Airbrush Flawless Foundation, which, questionable, you know, based on my experience, but each person's different, so there are some people that love it. I am not one of those people, but this is a great way to get some use out of it. Otherwise, it would just never get used up. It would just sit there and I would glare at it every day, all day. I had to do a little more extensive mixing on that one because it is definitely lighter than the majority of the other shades, and so there was quite a bit of a swirl that I needed to fix on there. But moving on to ColourPop, we have the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer. I have not tried the foundation yet, and so that is one that I'm looking at wanting to get here in the future. I just need to watch a couple more reviews from people before I get it. But I've had mixed feelings on the tinted moisturizer because I've had a couple times where it did not work well for me, and then one time where it did actually work well. So now I'm a bit confused. Up next, we have from Becca, the Skin Love Weightless Blur Foundation. This is also one that I'm not particularly a fan of. Just for whatever reason, does not work well with my face. And then the NARS is definitely a really, really good one. I'm gonna try and do this carefully. Okay, I think that's roughly the right amount. But this one is also beautiful. If you're a fan of the Radiant Concealer from NARS, you will love this foundation as well. So definitely a good one. And this is where we're at now. We're getting there. Got 5 left. And then we'll give it the old testaroo on the face. Alright, up next is going to be from Beauty Bakery, the Instabake Aqua Glass Foundation. And this one is also very, very nice. Up next, from Wander Beauty, we have the Nude Illusion Liquid Foundation. Oh, that's right. Okay. This one is on a dough foot, so that's fun. Use this side of the fork to scrape it off. I had completely forgotten about that. Not a fan of that. Alright, 3 left. So we've got, up next from Pat McGrath, the Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Foundation. And again, not sure I agree with the foundation being a perfection foundation, but it is what it is. We're still trying to make this one work, so it's worth the cost. Alright, then we have the CoverGirl True Blend Liquid Makeup Base. That's unfortunate. So this is one of the first foundations that I got when I was just starting to get into makeup, and I'm like 99% sure that that guy is expired. So, because that did not look good going into the bowl. So now we just fucked up the entire thing, but I'm not re-pouring all of these, so we're just gonna mix this in and then just immediately wipe it off of our face once we're done. That's too bad. Alright, and last up we have from Tarte. It's their Shape Tape Hydrating Foundation. I believe this one also uses a doe foot applicator. Yeah, I hate that. Okay, just use this side again, I guess. There we go. And of course it's a little bit of a thicker one, because it wouldn't be Shape Tape if it wasn't spackle on my face. last mix of everything. And this is what we're dealing with. Looks pretty good. All right, so we're back after mixing all of that together. This is the bowl with the final product in there. It looks great. Let's just go ahead and start doing this. I think I'm just gonna start by pulling the excess off of the fork, and then we'll just go from there if I need more. Who knows? Oh man. All right, here we go. I'm also using a fairly grody sponge. Sorry about that, but I didn't want to, like, potentially, if this is horrific, I didn't want to ruin a perfectly good sponge, and this one was one that I was planning on getting rid of soon anyway, so sorry that you guys are having to see that. Ooh, okay. I can definitely already say that color-wise, this is probably not going to be a good match, but, you know, who knows? Upon initial application, I can already say that it's, it, like, looks sort of like it's gonna be super full coverage, but then somehow isn't, but it feels like it's super duper full coverage. But it also, it looks super radiant, which makes sense considering that I had a bunch of tinted moisturizers and, like, hydrating foundations are the primary thing that I use, which is weird because since I do have very oily skin, you would think that I wouldn't really want to be rocking those, you know, super hydrating foundations, but interestingly enough, they tend to blend the best on my face, whereas if I use a matte foundation, the majority of them make me look super duper cakey. So that's kind of a fun thing, to have oily skin but not be able to use a foundation that would make me less oily. This is the initial blend. It's not terrible, but I think it's very thick in nature. Like, it's super duper coating everything and very, very radiant. But that could also just be because I am super sweating right now because it's like 1,000 degrees here. I'm just really trying to do my best to blend this out as much as possible to give it the best chance. Get some on my neck since we know that it's not the same as my regular skin tone. That was definitely also something that was really fun. I had a recent video where I thought I had done a good job of blending my foundation out, and then as I was doing the editing and I, like, turned my head to grab something over here, I was like, oh my god, like, just a cut line, like, right down my neck from my ear. It looked horrendous. So that's the high quality makeup stuff that you're gonna see on my channel. I think I've done about as much blending as I can. It definitely seems like it's fairly, honestly, I would say like medium coverage. I don't think it's a full coverage. So this is it so far. I'm gonna come in close, so just prepare yourself for close cat if you weren't ready for that. Here we go. So you can see around my nose and cheeks, my chin, and then my forehead with the eyebrows. Okay, pull them back away. So that was it initially. I'm gonna go ahead and throw on the rest of my makeup as I normally would, and then we'll go ahead and look at the final product and see what we think. And in the time that it takes for me to apply the rest of my makeup, we'll see if it's cracked or chipped or stayed in place or what have you. So I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. I did a fairly minimal look on here for today. I was trying so hard not to get, like, eyeshadow literally everywhere, so I was like, okay, you get one shade and you better be careful. So of course I go and I'm like, I'm just gonna put a Fenty highlight on my eyes. So it's just like glitter everywhere, so I really thought that one through, and I feel like my face just looks kind of weird now. I don't know. I think overall it turned out better than I expected, but it's like, it feels so heavy on my face, and I don't know if that's just because of the heat or if it's also because the foundation is just so thick on my face, but it definitely is a lot. Like, I can definitely notice that I have a shit ton of foundation packed on my face, even though I don't feel like I put that much on. Like, I feel like I did a fairly standard day of foundation, but it's a lot. I'm trying to blend out like the sweat lines. It's just not great. So I can definitely tell you that it's beading as if I have a ton of stuff on my face. But I can say that for the foundation, it, in addition to feeling heavy, it is doing what a lot of my thicker matte foundations do, which is that it's definitely already very much so falling into the lines that I have around my mouth. It's very cakey in certain areas. The one area that I am not noticing a super large amount of caking is on my under eye though, which is great. But I also didn't really put any foundation on my under eye. It was just my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer that I threw on there. That has a tendency to do very nice things for me, so. But either way, this was super duper interesting. I think it actually, shade-wise, turned out better than expected. I didn't have to do too much blending to get it to work, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna stick with my certain favorites, but this was definitely a fun experiment to just mix everything together and see what would happen. I don't recommend it because it's super heavy on my face. I'm definitely gonna be going to wash this off like immediately after this. But if you want to see me mix anything else, a la Safiya Nygaard, you know, I'm more than happy to do that. This is super duper fun. So I could maybe do lip glosses or something next, I don't know. But let me know if you want to see more of this. If you enjoyed it and you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe. I would love that, you know. Just give me more excuses to do really ridiculous things on this channel. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. If you didn't like it, big ol' thumbs down. You know, that's cool too. Either way, just let me know what you thought. But other than that, you guys just, you know, stay safe out there, and hopefully this was moderately fun for you guys to see me just waste foundation. Sorry. But just go on ahead and have a good one.